I have to say, Nini, it's so funny. I feel like I just went on such a roller coaster with you because we've been watching and recapping the season, and then I watched both episodes of Last Chance Kitchen this morning. My emotions are all over the place, Nini. You have taken me on a ride. It has been very dramatic.
About it.
I can only imagine it's been crazy for you. So you've become such a fan favorite. I'm so bummed that you are not on the show, but selfishly, I'm very excited that you're here because we've been very excited to chat with you. So thanks for taking some time.
Of course. This is fun. At least I get this.
Exactly. Before we jump into cooking and food and everything else, Top Chef, I just have to take a moment and discuss fashion because Nini, I think all three of us are, very aware that you are turning looks time after time this season, and I loved watching the outfits. I know it was kind of a little bit of a subject in the house. I'm wondering if you can talk about, like, I don't know, in a male-dominated industry, what you choose to wear, how you choose to express yourself in that way, and maybe what that means to you.
Yeah, I going into college, I didn't know what I would do, and in high school, like, everyone thought it would either be fashion or food, and so I really like being feminine. I feel like it's a little bit difficult to navigate being, an authoritative figure and very feminine, but I think that things are changing. And like a lot of, I think back, if you were going to go back 10 years ago, chefs would be like, you have to be serious, you have to be very hard, rigid. And like, yes, you should be serious, you should be, structured. But I think that for me, being kind of fun and showcasing that in my fashion, I think takes the pressure off of cooking. At the end of the day, it's still just food. I don't know why it has to be that serious. And so I think that I like to show that in my personality, especially on the show. But then in my day-to-day, and I can't say that I've had, from like a management standpoint, like, I think people love me more and would want to work for me a lot longer because I am the way that I am. And it's so different from the traditional, like, especially New York, like, strict kitchen. And so I wanted to showcase that to show people that, like, things are changing.
Well, it was such a pleasure for me to watch you all season with your clothes and with your personality. I think so often, the culinary world, and you know this as well as anybody, can be, like you said, so rigid and so male dominated. And such a storyline this season was the sisterhood, right? It was so fun to see all these strong, powerful women really compete, but also band together. I mean, you and Karen became so close and were so close. Just, can you talk about that a little bit? Because I loved watching that this season, that it wasn't about pitting these women together. You guys truly loved each other and respected each other. And that, I think, makes for such a more entertaining and fulfilling show.
Yes, I thank you first and foremost. I think that Karen and I kind of knew each other a little bit before the season, but we all kind of share a bond. Like, everybody has been through things, and what was, like, so beautiful was that, like, all of the women lifted each other, and it wasn't because we were women, I would say, necessarily. I think that in this industry, it's so easy for people to put, like, it's a boys club, you can't hang with the boys. And I'm like, no, I don't want to hang out with the boys. I'm going to hang with the girls. We're going to show you how it's done. And that was really refreshing because I have been in situations where it's like, because I might be, like, a little bit girly, fun, whatever, that other female chefs will kind of look down on me because they don't think that I'm serious enough. And I think that is like the root to the problem, is that instead of being, like, trying to join the boys club, just making a whole new club.
Yeah. Well, we had Padmas Angels this season. We had all sorts of things happening. I loved it. I loved it so much.
Yeah, it was totally awesome. And it's so lovely to hear you say, like, it doesn't all have to be so serious all the time. I mean, it is only food, and at the end of the day, it's art, right? It's creativity, and, like, the less kind of strict borders we can put on that, like the more creativity we're going to see, the more innovation we're going to see. I've worked in food service myself under these really strict male chefs, and also female chefs who were sometimes strict, but also exactly what you're talking about. Like they allow they're less angry, and like it really brings the team together in a really lovely way. Speaking of sisterhood, speaking of kind of women supporting women, we were wondering if you could talk a little bit about, was it difficult to go head to head versus Karen? How did that feel?
It was tough. Like, we're both very fierce, we're fighters, and at the end of the day, I knew it was bittersweet. Like, if I won, I would be happy that I won, but then I would be sad that my friend doesn't get to go. And same goes to her, but there's only one seat, and at least it's one of us. That's what we said, and we're just like, at least it's us, and we're just gonna do it. But it was tough.
Well, and also in the elimination challenge too, like I am a huge Top Chef aficionado. I don't think I've ever seen a judging that was that nitpicky. I mean, everybody's dish was so good. I mean, it literally came down to like, you didn't cook tomatoes. Yeah, right. You didn't cook the tomatoes long enough. Like that's how good everybody is. So it must be extra fulfilling too, to like go home on a dish where you're like, it was great. Like, why you probably wouldn't, maybe you'd cook the tomato a little bit longer, but like with the competition, it's crazy. So I want to ask, other than reading the 7,000 books behind you, how have you been spending your quarantine during this crazy time? What have you been cooking at home? That's what I would love to know. And how has this wild time been treating you?
So I think it went through phases. My first phase was organization. So I traveled.
If only, Nini. If only. I wish I could be like you.
I organized everything, and then after that, I'm like, okay, now I need to like figure out, because all of my gigs were canceled. So I'm like, how am I gonna make money? And like, at this time, everyone's cooking, so everyone wants content. Everyone's so demanding. Everything that I make, they're like, recipe, and I'm like, it's exhausting. Recipes take a lot of time, especially if you've already made it. You're gonna have to make it again to make sure it's the right recipe.
Right.
But I just started selling virtual cooking classes, and so I like thankfully built my website before the show started. So then, like, starting an online shop wasn't as hard, but still very hard for me because I hate being on a computer. So now I'm starting cooking classes. I have been tapping back into like more of my Vietnamese dishes or Vietnamese food, just because it's comforting for me. And I think that, for maybe a normal person, you can eat roast chicken only so many times. Like, you want some spice in your life. And so being able to teach people like very simple dishes with ingredients that you can probably find at the grocery store, but it like elevated in a whole nother way is like what I'm trying to do.
So let me throw out a hypothetical to you. Let's say, I don't know, just hypothetically, there was some guy who'd been wearing the same pair of sweatpants for 5 weeks and was eating all this food and was going crazy. What is a Vietnamese, I'm putting you on the spot. What is sort of maybe a Vietnamese dish that somebody like that sweatpants clad person could maybe make themselves at home?
What levels cooking can this person do?
This hypothetical person, Nini, would be pretty good, actually. Like likes to cook.
I'm humble about it too.
Not an expert, but well versed.
I don't know why, but one dish comes to mind, and it's like chicken braised in ginger, red pepper flakes, like the Italian like red pepper flakes, fish sauce, a little bit of molasses, or if you have sugar, you could just caramelize sugar, and just simmer that down with rice and like a cucumber salad. And that's one of my favorite things. You can get all of those ingredients at like any grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and my mom makes that all the time.
Oh,
like, she
that's amazing.
is to grate the ginger into the dish, simmer, and reduced down so the sauce is like sticky tacky onto the chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Serve it over rice.
Oh, I'm gonna have to take
Perfect.
online cooking classes, Nini, because now you're getting me excited now.
Totally.
That sounds great. Well, Nini, thank you so much for your time. This has been lovely. I mean, I truly have to say, I mean, I probably would say this to every contestant, but it really was such a pleasure watching you this season. You brought such an energy and a light to the show that was amazing, and just turning those looks week in, out, these jumps. I mean, listen, I'm not one to tell you what to do, but a jumpsuit line could be in your.
I know.
Nini.
Well,
I know, as long as they're like in sizes that will fit both of us, please.
That's what I want. I'm actually having a call with Dickies on Monday, so maybe we'll work with something.
No
and
way.
I think cool, light, and affordable for like cooks, so
Yeah.
then they can always wear it.
Amazing.
Yeah, and then like maybe a removable butt flap. We can talk later on another call, but that sounds like an amazing idea.
That goes from the back to the
Listen,
Now we're
whatever.
talking.
Multi-purpose, Nini. Multi-purpose. I mean, you're an entrepreneur. I'm not surprised. I mean, the world is your oyster.
It really is.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Nini. Again, such a pleasure to watch you this year, and a pleasure to chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You guys stay safe and stay home.